Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Glitch, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of player analysis of OGS Hero, now known as Liquid Hero. I'm going to be studying the PvP of HerO's play because he's got a very strong Blink Stalker play that I'm very fond of. PvP can be a very difficult matchup where it can just feel like one big army going up against another player's big army, and then they collide, and then somehow one person kind of comes out ahead and maybe destroys an expansion, and then for the rest of the game it just kind of feels like blah, like it just feels so like, it feels like a coin toss. It just doesn't feel safe and comfortable. So I wanted to do some analysis of HerO's game. Now HerO's game, this is going to be a little bit longer of a game, that's why I do have this playing at faster speed. So we are going to be analyzing his longer term style of play. A lot of very strong Blink Stalker play, which I really like. Now he's of course scouting into his opponent's base because one thing you always have to be aware of in PvP is the possibility of a 4-gate. For now he's going very standard, opening gate, gas, core, gas, and we'll be getting up that standard set of units, saving up some chrono boost on his Nexus in case there's any kind of early pressure coming. He has scouted his opponent's base, seeing that his opponent is doing almost the identical build to him, but we're not going to care too much what his opponent is doing because all we care about right now is our good friend Liquid Hero and what he does in this PvP matchup. One Zealot coming out, one Stalker coming out. That is for early pressure. Just like in a lot of PvT matchups, we are going to see that early Zealot and Stalker come out so that they can try to get out there, deal a lot of that good damage, hopefully, in that early game. And now we are going to see where deviation comes up. This almost looks like a 4-gate. We are chrono boosting out this warp gate tech, and we are throwing up only 2 more gateways. So we are going to have a total of 3 gateways here at the 4-minute, and I don't know, around the 4-minute mark, you're going to throw up 2 more gateways. Continue to chrono boost that warp gate tech, and send out a scout probe that's going to throw down a forward pylon. Now, the purpose of this, we're going to see in just a moment, is to try to deal some early damage. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit again. He is now getting his next gas, because he's now going to start to need it for that Stalker production. Note that this second gas came after these extra 2 gateways were added on, and now that these gateways are down, he's chrono boosting this warp gate tech to get that tech out. Once that tech is out, he's morphing in these 2 gateways, or these 3 gateways, all into warp gates, and instantly throwing down a Twilight Council. That's because he wants to get a very quick blink. So he's going to be getting this quick blink. In the meantime, he's going to be morphing in some Stalkers down here near his opponent's base, poking in with a couple of Stalkers to see what his opponent has, and he's going to be waiting for this Twilight Council to come in. Again, just waiting right now, poking in a little bit, seeing what his opponent's doing, how his opponent is reacting, and as soon as that Twilight Council's done, getting that blink research, trying to deal some damage. A little bit of miscontrol here by HerO. HerO probably shouldn't have engaged that many units there with the number of forces that he had, but now he is going to be warping in more, and he will take a little bit of the unit advantage here. Now, if HerO hadn't have lost so many units in that little exchange there, he would actually have a lot more Stalkers here. He'd be able to push in very strong right now, and he is now chrono boosting he's spending all of his chrono boosts now on that warp gate research. He has stopped production of workers because he wants to do some early, and of course, just to say, nope, no, I thought I saw that worker going up, but that is for our opponent. He is going to be sticking here just because he's trying to get this early aggression done. I will bet that HerO probably wins a lot of early games this way because just now his blink is about to be finishing, and as soon as his blink finishes, he's going to move into his opponent's base, and if he has the opportunity, he's going to try to use blink micro to blink these Stalkers back, deal a lot of damage here, tucked right into this little ramp. And back at home, just warping in more units, warping in more Stalkers with his forward pylon. Look at how low all these are, but not dead. Low, but not dead. He's actually going to try to blink up onto that high ground. Doesn't manage to get it, and this attack is not really going to do that well. And our opponent, our red Protoss friend here, is actually going to end up holding off this attack with those Stalker force fields, despite HerO's attempts at getting into that base. So, what's HerO going to do? HerO is now in a position where he's got these Blink Stalkers. He's not able to do the kind of damage that he wants. He's still blinking in, or still warping in more units to try to keep up this pressure on his opponent's front. But once he starts to realize that this is not going to do the damage he wants, you're going to see him go back to pro production. You can see, there we go. He is now back to pro production. He has decided he's going to go for just a little bit of a contain. containing his opponent, going back for probe production, and he is actually now going to be expanding. Now that this attack has been held off, and now that there are actually immortals, his opponent actually now has immortals. The second I think the next time he pokes in there, he's going to take some damage from those immortals, and he's going to say, you know what, I need to get out of there. The awesome thing about having these Blink Stalkers up early, no matter what force fields, no matter what your opponent has, you're probably going to have a faster blink, and so you can just blink away from your opponent all the time. In the meantime, he's still got a little bit of a contain going around. He's got one stalker running around checking for any kind of funny business in his own base, any loose pylons, and here he is going to be expanding. Again, he's keeping his opponent, he's keeping these units at the front so that his stalkers can poke in here, see what his opponent's doing. He sees his opponent is going for an expansion, and now he's probably just going to be pulling back. There's a bit of a pause going on there, but Hero is now getting his Nexus up. He is now getting his Nexus up at his natural. Again, he's saving Chrono Boost again to try to see, because he needs to know if his opponent is going to be going for any kind of aggression. He keeps constantly poking up with these Blink Stalkers because he can always just blink out. It's safe for him because he can always just blink right back out again. He's still warping in units to his forward pylon just because he can keep poking in here and seeing exactly what his opponent's doing, counting his opponent's unit, seeing how many units his opponent has at the front. And in the meantime, he's gone back to constant probe production and is now throwing up more gateways and a robotics facility. Now that this robotics facility is down, what's the first thing he gets? An observer. Needs to get those observers out on the field so that he can start getting some vision and he can finally pull these forward units back. So he's going to be pulling these forward units back, and that observer is going to be moving across the map to do the scouting for him. A second observer now coming up as well. He hasn't been able to see into his opponent's base recently. Could be DTs coming up. Needs to have a little bit of detection just in case. Fully saturating his second base, and is now moving around with these stalkers, keeping them very active, looking for any kind of pylons placed out on the map, any fishy pylons. And now is where he's going to start to get very interesting in his style of play. Now we're going to start to see something interesting. He's now got his 5 warp gates, and he's now getting up a Templar Archives. He's now that he has these observers on the map, he's going to be moving around with these observers. Let's see, does he actually have one? No, he doesn't have one in a forward position right now, but he will have one shortly. He's going to be placing one of his weak stalkers at the third. That's kind of a cutesy little thing that he is going to be doing. In the meantime, he's using that robotics facility now to get immortals, because he knows his opponent is going for a heavy gateway mix. He's getting up a Templar Archives. We will see why in just a moment. And he's being very active with these Blink Stalkers. And he's trying to deal as much damage as he can, and whenever he can, he's just blinking back and running away that way, because these stalkers are just so good at being pokers. They just go in, they poke, they scout, and then they pull back. Very, very, very safe play. Constantly aware of what your opponent is doing, trying to stay on those Xel'Naga watchtowers. In the meantime, back home, he is still warping in Zealots, Sentries, and Immortals back home, and is now getting some High Templar that he is going to be morphing right away into Archons. Why? Why is he getting Archons right now? Why Archons right now? Because these Blink Stalkers, while they have been very, very good at going out there, poking around, when it comes to the big fight, these guys, these Blink Stalkers, are going to be the damage dealers. This means he's going to need tanks. He needs tanks up front to absorb the damage of his opponent. Immortals, Archons, and Zealots, all to absorb the damage. Again, as soon as his opponent leaves, he's going back out, being very active with these Blink Stalkers again. Still warping in more tanky units back home. And he's now going to be pushing out again, because again, it's safe to be pushing out with Blink Stalkers. You can push out with Blink Stalkers as much as you want, and you can always get away because almost nothing is faster than those Blink Stalkers. The only thing that's as fast as Blink Stalkers in the PvP matchup is other Blink Stalkers or Phoenixes. Phoenixes are also pretty quick, but Phoenixes generally not a problem when you have Stalkers, because in general, Stalkers do pretty darn well against those Phoenixes, which can only shoot air. So, again, tanky units now moving out onto the field. He's going to be taking his third, so what does he need to do? He needs to secure this entire ground out front. So what's he want to do? He wants to control the middle of the map. He wants to control the critical attack paths while he expands. And this is where he starts to get really, really cool with his Blink Stalkers. All his tank units are just going to sit here and chill on the Xel'Naga tower so that they can know exactly what's going on. There was actually a Blink Stalker here scouting this third. So he knows that there's a third now coming up, and the forces, and he's now going to be using these observers to blink up into the main, do some poking. He's going to poke in, get a few pylon kills. He's not trying to end the game here. He's not going to end the game. He's just going to come in, he's going to poke and deal damage, and now he's going to see that his opponent is responding, bringing a lot of forces in, so he's just going to blink back down, and he's going to bring in all the tanky units. How cool is that? And now he's got a ton of forces here to try to deal with the split up forces. We are going to watch that again next. I want to watch that one more time. I want you guys to pay attention to... Hang on, we're gonna get back. 1 second, we're gonna go back up to faster times 8 speed. We're gonna zoom straight through all this stuff. Here we go. Blink Stalker's gonna move out. I want to expand. He's gonna expand. He's gonna check the Zalnaga towers. He's gonna be expanding with a probe there, and then he's gonna start pushing out. And here's what I want you guys to watch. I want you guys to watch this minimap. See where I'm making circles down here? This minimap, this is where I want you guys to watch. Watch just the minimap. Don't watch anywhere else. Here's the Blink Stalkers. Here's all his tank units. Blink Stalkers are gonna blink up, deal some damage. This means that all of his forces are going to have to come up here, or he's going to have to split them. And if they do, look at this. All the tank units just coming in from the back, trapping all of these units here at the back, taking out a good portion of his opponent's army. Very, very good play. If his opponent decided to move out, he could just blink out, hit with the stalkers from the back, and his tank units are already there at the front to kind of sandwich him in the middle, and he's in a good spot either way. Again, now, his expansion is up. He's now going to be getting, again, leaving all his tank units there, doing more blink play, poking in again. Because where does his opponent's army have to be? His opponent's army has to be out here in the middle of the map because he's got a ton of units over here in the middle. He's got to be able to defend against those, and guess what? The Blink Stalkers went up here. What happened? The entire army of Red Protoss pulled back to come deal with this, and so what did he do? Time to take out that third expansion, sent his tank units, and divided up his units. We do not see this enough in PvP. In PvP, they generally tend to just go for one big death ball, but here you can see that Hero is taking advantage of his opponent keeping that death ball and splitting up his army into the fast mobile units that can poke in and deal a lot of damage, and the tank units. Now, he is now on third base, 3 bases, and his opponent's on 2. This means his opponent pretty much just has to push and try to end the game right now because he's been on 3 bases for a while. So guess what? What's he going to do? He's now going to pull all his units together. He's going to put all his tank units at the front. Blink Stalkers blink to the back. Let his tank units absorb all that damage. And guess what? He is going to crush the heck out of this force. This force is going down so fast, and now Hero's in such a good position that he's going to leave his army up as one big death ball of an army. He's going to move into his opponent's base, and he's just going to crush him. And that's going to be it. That's going to be GG. So, you guys can now play like Hero, get those early Blink Stalkers, get that early pressure up, and deal a lot of early damage, and win those PvP matches. So yeah, that's it for me. I think I'm about to run over 15 minutes, so I'm going to have to cut this short, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do, please comment, please subscribe, and that does it for me. Glitch, out.